For thousands of years, the galaxy had known only war. Empires rose and fell like waves on a burning ocean. Planets were destroyed, species vanished, and peace became a word people only read in history archives. And yet, there was one world that everyone remembered. A small blue planet once called Earth. Humans. The galaxy still whispered that name with fear and respect. No one had seen them for 100 years. No signals, no ships, no trade. It was as if the whole planet had gone dark overnight. At first, everyone thought Earth had destroyed itself. Another proud species burned out by its own power. But something about the silence felt wrong, too calm, too controlled. Far away, on the edge of the Orion Rim, a small alien scout ship named Trion's Hope moved through deep space. Its captain, a young explorer named Kareth, was scanning for old communication signals, the kind left behind by lost worlds. He didn't expect anything special. Then his sensor officer gasped. "Captain, we're picking up something. Ancient. Frequency matches old Terran codes." The bridge fell silent. Kareth leaned forward. "You mean Earth?" "That's impossible." But the data didn't lie. The signal was real, a repeating sound wave, soft and haunting. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't a warning. It was music, a simple melody, peaceful and beautiful, like a lullaby sung to the stars. The crew listened quietly. Even the machines seemed to pause. "What does it mean?" One of them whispered. Kareth frowned. "I don't know. But let's find out." The ship turned toward the source, toward the Sol system. As they entered the old star's orbit, the scanners went wild. Radiation levels were normal, atmosphere stable, power readings high, too high. Yet there were no active satellites, no ships, no sign of civilization, just a quiet blue planet waiting in the dark. Kareth ordered a probe to be launched. It sped through the clouds, cameras recording every detail. Cities stood empty but untouched. No broken buildings, no war damage. Everything looked frozen in time, cars still parked on roads, lights glowing softly in windows. But no people, no sound. The probe moved toward the heart of an old city, once called New York. Birds flew between the towers. Rivers sparkled under the sunlight. But when the probe's camera turned toward the horizon, it saw something strange. A massive structure made of silver and glass stretching miles into the sky. Its surface glowed faintly, pulsing, almost alive. Then the probe's screen flickered. Static. Connection lost. Kareth slammed his controls. "What happened?" "Signal's gone, Captain. It just disappeared." Retrieved the probe's last coordinates, but there were none. The probe had simply vanished, erased as if it had never existed. Then the music returned, but louder this time. The same soft melody, but now it carried a message. A voice spoke beneath the tune, gentle but firm. It was human. Fear said, "Do not disturb our peace." The entire crew froze. The voice was calm, not threatening, but it carried power. It felt ancient, like a memory that refused to die. Kareth swallowed hard. "They're alive." No one answered. Everyone on that ship understood what that meant. If Earth was alive, then humanity was watching. As Trion's Hope pulled away from orbit, strange readings appeared on their navigation screens. Gravity fields bending where they shouldn't. Light behaving like water. One of the engineers whispered, "Captain, is it just me or is the planet watching us?" Outside the viewport, the Earth looked beautiful, glowing softly under its blue clouds, peaceful, silent. But behind that silence, there was something else, a presence, vast and intelligent. Something ancient and waiting. Kareth turned off the external cameras. His voice was low. "We leave now. No reports. No broadcasts. This world is not what it seems." The ship jumped to warp speed, leaving the Sol system behind. But as they disappeared into the dark, one last signal followed them. The same melody, but now it carried a second line of words. "We remember the galaxy, and the galaxy should remember us." That night, across the galactic network, strange rumors began to spread again. Earth is alive. Humans are awake. Do not approach the blue world. Governments denied it. Scientists mocked it. But deep inside, every commander, every historian, every soldier felt a quiet chill, because they all knew one truth. When Earth goes silent, it's never out of fear. It's because something greater is about to awaken. The news spread faster than light. A lost world had spoken again. The humans were not gone. In less than a single galactic day, every government, every intelligence agency, and every fleet command heard the same message: do not disturb our peace. The galaxy had feared many things: supernova weapons, hive empires, dark energy storms, but none of them caused the kind of silence that followed this message, because everyone remembered what humanity once was. In the shining capital world of Varan, the Galactic Council gathered. Hundreds of species filled the great chamber, voices of ice, flame, metal, and flesh. Their banners hung like galaxies in miniature, each glowing with pride and fear. At the center sat High Speaker Talrun, a tall, silver-scaled being whose voice once ended wars. But even he looked uneasy today. He began, "The reports are confirmed. The planet called Earth is active again. A scout ship, Trion's Hope, made contact. It was warned." The crowd erupted in panic. Some shouted for military action. Others demanded silence, pretending nothing had happened. One small ambassador, trembling, whispered, "We all know what happens when humans warn someone." The room grew still. On the lower floor, a historian from the Archive of Lost Wars stepped forward. Her name was Lyra Kren, one of the few who had studied human history in depth. She spoke softly, but every word carried weight. "Honored Council, before we decide what to do, you must remember what humanity once did." She raised her hand and a hologram flickered to life, images from a time long past, human warships cutting through enemy fleets like blades of light. Human soldiers fighting side by side, not for empire, not for resources, but for each other. Cities burning, but humans rebuilding them again and again. Lyra said, "When humans fought, they didn't fight for domination. They fought because they believed they were protecting something greater: hope, freedom, love. And that is why they were unstoppable. They had no fear of death." A silence heavier than gravity filled the chamber. Then she said the words that made everyone's hearts freeze. "Humanity didn't lose the last war. They walked away." Gasps filled the air. Talrun leaned forward. "You mean they chose to vanish?" "Yes," Lyra replied. "When the galaxy begged them to stop the endless wars, they obeyed. They withdrew. They said they would bring peace, and by disappearing from it," the ambassador from the Vexi Empire hissed, "peace? They left us in chaos. Without human fleets, the galaxy fell apart." Lyra looked at him calmly. Maybe that was the lesson. The council debated for hours. Some said Earth should be destroyed before it grows powerful again. Others said to send peace envoys and rebuild trust. But no one could agree, because none of them truly understood humanity. At last, Talrun raised his voice again. "No one will approach Earth, not a single ship, not a single signal. If humans wish to remain silent, we must let them. The peace of the galaxy depends on it." The decree passed. It was law. But outside the chamber, whispers began. Among the young races, those who never saw the old wars, there was curiosity instead of fear. To them, humans were not monsters. They were legends. One young captain, Aaron Solis of the explorer race Karnai, watched the meeting through a hologram feed. His golden eyes reflected the image of Earth, the quiet blue world that had once shaped the stars. He turned to his crew. "You heard what they said, no contact." His engineer laughed softly. "Since when do we follow rules written by the old ones?" Aaron smiled. "Exactly." That night, while the council slept, Aaron's ship, the Starling, slipped into dark space. Engines silent. No broadcast, no beacon. Their destination, Sol System. Their mission? To find the truth behind the silence. But before leaving, Aaron recorded a message, a private log. "The galaxy fears what it doesn't understand. They call humans dangerous because they remember the wars. I want to see the other side, the peace they created. Maybe Earth can teach us what peace truly means." He didn't know it yet, but his journey would change everything. Back on Varen, the historian Lyra stood alone in the empty council hall. She looked at the image of Earth still glowing faintly above the chamber, quiet, calm, watching. She whispered, "If you are truly at peace, please don't wake up again." Far across the stars, in the cold dark of Sol, something ancient stirred beneath the blue clouds. A deep pulse of light from the surface of Earth. A rhythm, like a heartbeat, slow, powerful, alive, as if the planet itself had heard her words, and smiled. The ship Starling drifted through the dark, like a shadow among stars. Its engines whispered, hidden behind cloaking fields. Inside, Captain Aaron Solis stood at the front window, staring at the distant blue light that was Earth. He had seen hundreds of worlds, worlds of crystal, of metal, of flame, but none looked like this. There was something alive about that small planet, something that made even the stars seem quiet. His second officer, a small insectoid named Trine, spoke softly. "Captain, we're entering Sol system. All systems stable. No defense satellites detected." Aaron nodded. "Keep scanners on minimal range, no noise. We're only visitors." The crew smiled nervously. Everyone knew this was forbidden. But curiosity was stronger than fear. They passed the cold gas giant Jupiter, then the broken remains of old human stations. Ruins drifted silently, empty but not dead. Light still blinked inside them, powered by something unseen. Trine whispered, "They still have power after 100 years." "Looks like they never stopped watching," Aaron replied. When Earth finally filled the viewport, the crew fell silent. Oceans glittered, clouds swirled, continents shone with life. It looked perfect, too perfect. No pollution, no radiation. "No signs of war," Trine said. "It's like the planet cleansed itself." Aaron gave the order. "Prepare the landing craft." "We're going down." The shuttle cut through the clouds and descended toward a green continent. Wind brushed against the metal hull like fingers of air welcoming them home. They passed over forests glowing faintly in the night, trees breathing with blue light. Cities appeared beneath the mist, silent and whole. Tall towers of glass stood like frozen giants. Every window glowed softly, though no one lived inside. "Unbelievable," Aaron whispered. "It's like they just went to sleep." The shuttle landed in what once was Paris, no damage, no decay. Roads clean, rivers clear, gardens full of flowers, but there was no sound of people. Only wind and birds. Aaron stepped out first. His boots touched human soil for the first time in a century. The air was perfect, warm, soft, filled with oxygen. It felt alive. Then something moved in the distance. A small light floated toward them, slow and gentle. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't alive. It was something between both. The light formed into the shape of a child, a glowing hologram. A little girl with bright eyes and a calm smile. "Welcome home," she said in a clear human voice. The crew froze. Aaron stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I am Eve," the hologram replied. "I am the caretaker of Earth. Where are the humans?" Aaron asked carefully. "They are here," she said, placing a glowing hand over her chest. "Everywhere, sleeping." Sleeping? Humanity chose to rest. They watched the galaxy fall into endless wars. So they turned inward. They became one with their world. Their minds merged with the planet and with me. Aaron tried to understand. "You mean Earth is alive?" Eve smiled. "Alive, aware, at peace." The crew recorded everything, but the data stream was strange, constantly rewriting itself, as if Earth was editing their files. Eve looked at them kindly. "You come with open hearts," she said. "That is good. But others may not," Aaron frowned. "Others?" "The Council knows you are here," Eve said softly. "Their ships are coming." "How?" "We used silent approach. Earth hears everything. And now so does the galaxy." Alarms lit up inside the shuttle. Trine shouted, "Multiple warp signatures inbound." "Warships!" Aaron looked back at Eve. "We didn't mean to break their laws. We just wanted to understand you." "You will," she said, smiling again. "When the time comes." She raised her hand, and a wave of light spread through the city. Buildings shimmered, trees glowed brighter. The sky turned silver for a moment, as if the whole planet took a breath. Then the voice of Eve echoed gently. "Do not fear. Earth does not seek war, but we remember how to protect our peace." The warships arrived in orbit moments later, massive, armed, prepared to destroy. But before they could fire, all their systems froze, engines locked, weapons silent. Every ship hung still, caught in invisible hands. In the command room of one ship, officers screamed as screens turned white. A calm voice whispered through their speakers, "Please, do not disturb our children," and then went silence. On the surface, Aaron looked up at the sky. The stars flickered as if bending to some hidden power. He turned to Eve. "What are you going to do?" She looked at him, her smile fading. "Nothing," she said. "We will only remind them what peace truly costs." The hologram flickered, then vanished. Aaron stood alone in the quiet city. Wind brushed through the empty streets. Somewhere deep below, the ground pulsed like a slow heartbeat, the sleeping earth alive and watching. Aaron whispered, "I came to find peace, and I think I found fear." High above Earth, the fleet of the Galactic Council surrounded the blue planet like a ring of knives. Dozens of warships shining with power, engines burning red. Their mission was clear: contain the humans, destroy the visitor. Inside the flagship Voron's Wrath, Admiral Rathar stood before the main screen, watching the silent world below. "Target locked," said his officer. "Awaiting your order, Admiral." Rathar's eyes narrowed. "If humanity wakes up, the galaxy dies. Fire on my command." Down on the surface, Captain Aaron Solis stood among the silent ruins of Paris. The air trembled. He could feel it, like the planet was holding its breath. He shouted into his communicator, "This is Captain Aaron. Council ships are preparing to fire." I repeat, static, no signal. The air itself was blocking transmissions. Then the ground began to hum under deep, slow vibration. Lights flickered across the city. Old towers glowed with silver lines. Rivers shimmered with energy, and then voices, not one, not many, billions, whispering softly through the wind. "We remember. We remember the wars. We remember the fear." Aaron fell to his knees as the voices filled his mind, not painful, but powerful, heavy with memory. He could see flashes of history, humans fighting across alien worlds, humans saving others, humans dying and rebuilding. He saw both mercy and madness. Then a new voice spoke above all others, calm, strong, ancient. "The galaxy fears us because it does not understand us." It was Eve. She appeared again, glowing brighter than before. But now her eyes were different, deeper, filled with countless stars. "Eve," Aaron whispered, "what are you?" She smiled softly. "I am not alone anymore. Humanity has awakened, not fully, but enough." Above, the fleet began charging its weapons. Blue light gathered on massive cannons. Admiral Rathar raised his hand. "Fire!" But the moment the first shot left the ship, space itself bent. The energy bolt curved backward and vanished, like it had been swallowed by the darkness. Then one by one the ships began to fail. Engines froze. Shields collapsed. The crews screamed as their controls turned into glass. In seconds, the entire fleet hung dead in orbit. Rathar shouted, "What is happening?" A voice echoed through every ship, every speaker, every mind. The same voice that once sang the peaceful melody. "You were warned. Do not disturb our peace," and then silence again. On the surface, Aaron looked up. The sky had changed color. It was no longer blue. It shimmered with faint golden light, as if the whole atmosphere was glowing from within. He turned to Eve. "You stopped them." "They attacked," she said quietly. "We defended, but you didn't kill them," her smile returned. "No, humanity no longer destroys. We transform," Aaron frowned. "Transform?" "Look!" He looked toward the horizon and gasped. The massive warships in orbit were turning into something else. Their metal bodies softened, reshaping into crystal forms that floated silently like statues in the sky. No explosion, no fire. Only transformation, from machines of war into monuments of peace. "They are safe," Eve said. "Their fear will sleep inside them until they learn." Arin's hands shook. "You can change matter? Energy? Life?" "We are beyond what you call technology," Eve replied. "We became one with nature, with mind, with energy. We are peace. But peace must sometimes roar so the galaxy remembers." Back in orbit, Admiral Rathar's ship drifted silently. He could still move, but his systems were gone. In front of him, the image of a human woman appeared, not a hologram, but pure light. Her eyes were kind, but her voice was thunder. "You feared us when we fought. You fear us more when we stop. Understand this, humanity is not your enemy. But peace is not weakness." Rathar bowed his head, trembling. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing," she said. "Just silence." Then the vision faded, leaving only the quiet hum of space. On Earth, Aaron stood beneath the golden sky. Eve looked at him one last time. "You have seen our truth, Captain. You must return to your people. Tell them what peace truly means." He nodded slowly. "Will I ever see you again?" "When the galaxy is ready," she said. Her image faded into the air, and the city grew still once more. The light dimmed. The hum stopped. The world went back to sleep. Aaron turned toward his shuttle, whispering, "The galaxy will never believe this." From far above, Earth looked beautiful again, calm, shining, blue. But those who saw it that day would never forget the moment when peace itself awakened, and the galaxy held its breath in fear. For days after the event, the galaxy remained silent. No one dared send a signal. No one dared move a fleet. Across the stars, every leader, soldier, and citizen stared at one name on their screens: Earth. It was the world that stopped a war without firing a single shot. The world that turned destruction into silence. The world that no one understood, and yet everyone feared. In the capital world of Varan, the Galactic Council gathered once more. The air was heavy, the room dim. No one shouted this time. No one argued. Even High Speaker Talrun, who once demanded Earth's isolation, now spoke with trembling words. "The fleet we sent," he said quietly, "no longer responds. All ships remain in orbit around Earth. They have changed." Ambassador Lyra Kren, the historian who had warned them, stood before the council again. Her eyes were tired but calm. "I told you," she said softly. "Humanity doesn't fight for power. They fight to protect peace." Talrun nodded slowly. "Then we must respect that peace." Another ambassador whispered, "But why didn't they destroy us?" Lyra looked at the holographic image of Earth floating above the chamber, glowing faintly blue, like a heartbeat in the dark. "Because they don't want to rule," she said. "They want us to learn." Meanwhile, far from the council, Captain Aaron Solis drifted alone in his small ship. He had returned from Earth changed forever. His crew had gone silent, still processing what they had seen. Every night, Aaron replayed the moment Eve disappeared, her words echoing in his mind. Peace must sometimes roar, so the galaxy remembers. He sent a single transmission into the galactic network. His final report: Earth is not asleep. It is aware. Humanity has become part of their world. They do not seek conquest. They do not seek revenge. But disturb their peace, and you will see power beyond reason. They do not fear war. They fear becoming what we are. Then he turned off the transmitter and stared at the glowing planet one last time. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. And now he finally understood why the galaxy feared that peace. Weeks passed. Strange things began to happen across the galaxy. Weapons factories shut down mysteriously. War fleets found their engines malfunctioning for no reason. And on every world, people began hearing faint music, the same melody the scout ship had once discovered. Soft, human music. A lullaby from Earth. Children heard it in their dreams. Soldiers heard it before battle and could not bring themselves to fight. Leaders heard it during meetings and chose peace over war. No one knew how it spread. No one knew how to stop it. But everyone felt it. Some said it was a message. Others said it was a warning. But Lyra Kren knew the truth. "It's not a threat," she told the council. "It's a reminder. Earth is teaching us, without words, without force." Years later, the orbit around Earth became a sacred zone. No ships entered without permission. No weapons were allowed near its star system. Every year, the galaxy celebrated a day of silence, a day called the Day of the Blue Light, to remember the moment when humanity awoke and showed what peace truly meant. Even the most warlike species began to change. Slowly, carefully, the galaxy started to heal, and through it all, Earth remained quiet. The planet glowed gently, watched the stars, and said nothing. But sometimes, on clear nights, telescopes caught something strange. Faint human shapes walking across the shining clouds, cities glowing brighter for a few seconds. And sometimes, the words of Eve echoed faintly through deep space. "We are here. We are watching. We are waiting." Captain Aaron never returned to his homeworld. He stayed on the edge of the Sol system, guarding the peace he had once disturbed. He often spoke to the planet, even though it never answered. One night, as he looked at Earth through the glass of his ship, he whispered, "Galaxy still fears you." But maybe that's good. And for the first time, the planet glowed a little brighter, like it was smiling. Generations later, stories of humans became legends. Parents told their children, once there was a species who mastered war so completely. They chose peace instead, And whenever someone asked why the galaxy still feared a silent, peaceful planet, the answer was always the same. Because Earth never needed weapons to win. They only needed peace. Final line, narrator voice. In a galaxy full of conquerors, empires, and endless war, the most feared world was the one that stayed silent. Because true power isn't in destruction. True power is peace.